There are many ways we can teach our children to become independent and responsible human beings. The way we guide our kids growing up will determine the type of adults they will become. We want them to be confident, self-sufficient individuals who are capable of making good decisions. But sometimes we have no idea where to start with this process. In this video, we will be showing you 15 simple yet effective ways to teach children independence from an early age. Number 1, allow them to make their own decisions. When children are given opportunities to make age-appropriate decisions, it will help them to feel capable and trusted. It may be difficult at first, but allowing them to make their own decisions will help them to develop into more independent thinkers. Number 2, teach them how to take care of their personal tasks. From a young age, children should be taught how to perform everyday tasks such as making their bed, getting dressed, and brushing their teeth. As they get older, they should be given more responsibilities around the house, such as helping to prepare meals or doing the dishes. This will help them to develop a sense of pride and accomplishment, and it will also prepare them for adulthood. 3, let them go to school on their own. If your child is old enough to walk to school by themselves, then let them do it. This will help them to develop a sense of independence and responsibility. Of course, you should always make sure that your child is safe when they're out on their own. You can even walk with your child to school the first few times to ease their anxiety. Number 4, self-discipline is one of the most important skills you can teach your children. Discipline is essential for success in school, work, and life. When children are allowed to do whatever they want, whenever they want, they grow up with a sense of entitlement and they become unhappy and unfulfilled. They also have a hard time fitting into society and maintaining healthy relationships. Self-discipline is the ability to control oneself in order to achieve a greater goal. This requires a certain level of maturity and self-awareness. Children can be taught self-discipline through positive reinforcement and clear expectations. When children are rewarded for good behavior, they are more likely to repeat that behavior. In order to teach self-discipline, parents need to be consistent with their expectations and follow through with consequences when their children misbehave. Number 5, let your child understand that failure is not a big deal. Failure is an opportunity to learn and grow. When children are allowed to fail, they learn that it's not the end of the world. They become more resilient and better equipped to handle future setbacks. In order to teach children that failure is not a big deal, parents need to model this behavior. Parents should be willing to take risks and be okay with failing. When children see their parents taking risks, they learn that it's not something to be afraid of. 6, help them learn to manage their own emotions. Children who are able to manage their emotions are better able to succeed in school, work, and life. They have better relationships and are less likely to suffer from mental health problems. There are a number of ways that parents can help their children learn to manage their emotions. One way is to model good emotional management yourself. Children learn by watching their parents, so if you're able to keep your emotions in check, your children will be more likely to do the same. Another way to help your children learn to manage their emotions is to create a calm and stable home environment. This means avoiding yelling and other forms of emotional abuse, as well as providing your children with the structure and routine they need to feel secure. Finally, you can teach your children specific strategies for managing their emotions, such as deep breathing exercises or mindfulness meditation. 7, give your child the chance to express their opinions. When children are allowed to express their opinions, they learn that their thoughts and feelings are valued. This creates a sense of security and autonomy. Children who feel like they have a say in the decisions that affect them are more likely to be independent and self-sufficient. There are a number of ways that parents can encourage their children to express their opinions. One way is to simply ask for their thoughts on a regular basis. For example, you could ask your child what they think about a new rule at school or what they want to do for extra credit in their classes. Another way to encourage your child to express their opinions is to give them opportunities to do so in a safe environment. This could involve family meetings where everyone shares their thoughts openly and honestly. You can also create opportunities for your child to express their opinions through creative outlets such as art, music, or writing. 8. Allow them to make mistakes. Mistakes are an important part of the learning process. When children are allowed to make mistakes, they learn from them and are less likely to repeat them. They also become more creative and innovative because they're not afraid to experiment. To allow your children to make mistakes, you must first create a safe and supportive environment. This means avoiding harsh punishments and focusing on positive reinforcement instead. You should also model this behavior yourself by being willing to admit your mistakes and learn from them. 9. Give them the opportunity to correct their mistakes. When children are given the opportunity to correct their mistakes, they learn that it's not the end of the world. They become more resilient and better equipped to handle future setbacks. They also learn that everyone makes mistakes and that it's important to try to fix them. In order to give your children the opportunity to correct their mistakes, you need to avoid getting angry or punishing them when they make a mistake. Instead, work together with them to find a solution. This teaches them that mistakes happen and that the best thing to do is to try to correct them. 10. Teach them to stay committed to their goals. It can be difficult for children to stay committed to their goals, especially when they're faced with obstacles. However, it's an important skill for success in school, work, and life. Children who are able to stay committed to their goals are more likely to achieve them. There are a number of ways that parents can teach their children this skill. One way is to model this behavior. Children learn by watching their parents, so if you're able to stay committed to your own goals, your children will be more likely to do the same. Another way to teach children this skill is to praise them when they do stay committed to their goals. Positive reinforcement is a powerful tool for teaching children desired behaviors. When children are rewarded for staying committed to their goals, they're more likely to repeat that behavior. Finally, you can teach children how to set realistic goals and break them down into smaller, achievable steps. This will make it easier for them to stay on track and reach their goals. 11. Let your child take responsibility for their actions. When children are allowed to take responsibility for their actions, they learn that their behavior has consequences. This creates a sense of accountability and helps them to become more independent. Children who are held accountable for their actions are more likely to be responsible citizens and make good decisions. In order to teach children this lesson, parents need to model this behavior. Children learn by watching their parents, so if you're able to take responsibility for your own actions, your children will be more likely to do the same. Another way to teach children this skill is to give them age-appropriate responsibilities. This could include things like chores around the house or caring for a pet. When children are given responsibilities and allowed to take care of them, they learn that their actions have consequences. 12. Parents should encourage and motivate during the process. Encouragement and motivation are essential for helping children become independent. When children feel supported and encouraged by their parents, they're more likely to try new things, take risks, and persevere in the face of obstacles. Motivation is what drives children to achieve their goals. When children are motivated, they're more likely to put in the effort required to be successful. There are a number of ways that parents can encourage and motivate their children. One way is to provide positive feedback and praise. When children are praised for their efforts and accomplishments, they're more likely to repeat those behaviors. Another way to encourage and motivate children is to set realistic expectations. When parents set their children up for success by setting realistic expectations, they're more likely to meet those expectations and feel a sense of accomplishment. Finally, parents can provide children with the resources and support they need to be successful. This could include things like academic support, emotional support, or simply the time and space children need to try new things and explore their interests. 13. Give children freedom within reasonable boundaries. Children need freedom in order to develop a sense of independence and autonomy. When children are given too much freedom, they can get into dangerous situations. But when they're given reasonable amounts of freedom, they learn to make good decisions and take care of themselves. Parents can give their children freedom by giving them age-appropriate responsibilities and by trusting them to make decisions. 14. Help them build new habits that support independence. Children are more likely to be independent if they have habits that support this behavior. Some examples of habits that support independence include making their bed in the morning, packing their own backpack for school, and helping to prepare meals. Parents can help their children build these habits by modeling the behavior, praising children when they exhibit the desired habit, and providing incentives for maintaining the habit. 15. Give them limited choices. Children are more likely to be independent if they're given choices that allow them to practice decision-making skills. For example, instead of just telling your child what to wear, lay out 2 or 3 different outfits for them to choose from. When children are given limited choices, they learn to make decisions and take responsibility for the consequences of those decisions. As you can see, there are many different ways to teach children independence. By following the tips above, you can create an environment that supports and encourages independence in your children. You may not see results immediately, but with patience and consistency, you can help your children develop into independent, self-sufficient adults. Thank you for watching.